Time for the market report. Prices back down, but fairly stable.
Indeed, and it looks like row crops got hit the hardest. And we'll get into it, but first, the numbers. What were the week's biggest gains and losses? And then, this year's last crop progress report and a few others on how cotton, grain, and oilseed production looks right now. And finally, the mighty Mississippi sweet potato. What are the economics behind them? We ask an extension expert. So, markets closed the week trending down, but not by much. A bit of a mixed bag with row crops while livestock rising. Let's take a look. The week's biggest gain, cotton up nearly 1.25 cents, and over 1.5% increase from the previous week. The week's biggest loss, wheat down 16.75 cents, a near 3% decrease from the previous week. This year's final crop progress report released last week telling us how harvest season has wrapped up so far, and well, looks pretty good. Cotton systems, oilseeds, and grain crushings all showing less than last year, however. Here's the rundown.
In the 15 highest cotton-producing states, Mississippi included, harvest 84% finished. This time last year, it was 81%. In the 8 highest peanut-producing states, harvest 93% complete. This time last year, it was 95% complete. In the 18 highest winter wheat-producing states, planting 97% complete, the same as last year. Winter wheat emergence 89%. Last year, it was 90%. Winter wheat condition reporting 85% fair to excellent. In the cotton system consumption and stock report, extra long staple cotton consumed 87,000 pounds in October this year, down 67% from last year. Total number of spindles on the cotton system, 730,000 in October. Spindles consuming 100% cotton, 278,000, down 42% from last year. In the oilseeds report, soybeans crushed for crude oil about 6.5 million tons October this year, about 7% higher than last year. Crude oil produced a little over 2.5 billion pounds, up 8% from last year. Canola seeds crushed for crude oil a bit over 218,000 tons October this year, nearly 8% higher than last year. Canola crude oil produced 171 million pounds, up 6% from last year. Cottonseed once refined oil production, 38.7 million pounds, up 11% from last year. In the grain crushings report, total corn consumed for alcohol and other uses 510 million bushels October this year, down less than 1% from last year. Corn consumed for beverage alcohol about 3.5 million bushels, down 46% from last year. Corn for fuel alcohol 460 million bushels, also down less than 1% from last year.
Sweet potatoes are a pretty big deal here in Mississippi. We love them and love to eat them. But what are the economic factors in play for those who grow them? You might be surprised.
The annual sweet potato crop in Mississippi is a unique aspect of this state. Calhoun and surrounding counties in the north of the state grow the vast majority. The city of Vardaman calls itself the sweet potato capital of the world. So, what makes this particular crop so special here? I spoke with MSU Extension Specialist Dr. Lorin Harvey to get deeper into the details.
So one of the interesting things about sweet potatoes, one of the unique aspects of sweet potatoes is almost all of the operations are vertically integrated. It's different from traditional row crops. You grow the crop, you harvest the crop, you end up selling it, and it gets sent to a grain elevator. Well, all of the storage in this case, and therefore all of the risk, is maintained by the sweet potato grower. So you grow the crop, you seek out customers, then you wash and sell the crop on demand, and then you ship that crop out to those people. But you're maintaining possession and ownership of the crop that entire time. And so a portion of that crop then gets saved from one year to the next to be used as seed for the next year. So they're completely vertically integrated operations, and therefore the risk is maintained by the grower throughout that whole time. So I like to say that growing the potatoes is really only half the battle. You then have to store it, you have to find your customers, you then have to be able to effectively wash and pack it. It's a lot more than just growing the potatoes. So the normal buyers of sweet potatoes would be your large grocery chains, Walmart, H-E-B, Publix, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, you name it, those kind of larger grocery stores. And then another very large consumer would be, and we call that fresh market. And then another large consumer would be processing. So you have companies that make sweet potato chips, sweet potato French fries, and those would be companies like McCain Foods, Lamb Wesson, J.R. Simplot, those kind of companies. And those two Those two market groups really make up the vast majority of sweet potato sales, fresh market and then processing. And then there's about 80, I want to say, at least for the state of Mississippi, it changes depending on where you are in the country, but Mississippi, about 85% of our crop is consumed as fresh market product, and the vast majority of that is consumed domestically. And then the remaining 15% or so is through processing of some sort.
According to the Mississippi Sweet Potato Council, the best potatoes should be firm, round, with fairly even coloring. Store them in a cool, dry, ventilated space. Don't refrigerate them. Cook them with the skin on to preserve nutrition, and use a stainless steel knife to cut them.
And that's it for a deeper look into the markets. Seems prices fairly stable right now, and with harvest to tally, we'll see just how much stock we have.